Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. Thanks for coming and checking out my video today. Before I go any further, for the people who watch regularly, and I'm sorry if you're a new person, but hopefully you won't be for much longer, you'll be a returning viewer. I'm going on holiday for a couple of weeks, so I'm recording these videos in advance, and that means there won't be any streams where I usually play the decks, so there won't be any streams for the next two Thursdays or the first Sunday in August. The plan is to return to streaming again on the afternoon of Sunday the 13th of August UK time. So I'll be back playing some of the decks I'm talking about over the next couple of weeks then. But hopefully you've hit the subscribe button now so you can watch the videos. What I'm going to be doing, however, is going through some of the cards that are coming out from Commander Masters that are ones I haven't previously covered on this channel. So there are some of the cards that are coming out, like Urza, Lord High Artificer, Maelstrom Wanderer, and Heliod that I've already covered on this channel, so you can go and look them up. I'll link these three in today's deck in the description down below today. So they're the ones I think people are going for, but I've decided to pick on some of the ones I personally haven't covered, a bit like I did last week's video on Thursday. So today's commander is what you're here for. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, 5 triple white for an 8/8 legendary creature angel. Flying, vigilance, and indestructible, but it gives everything else we control indestructible. This is a card I play against occasionally on the stream, and although I've had Avacyn sitting in my collection for a while, I've never really got around to building her. So I figured Commander Masters, probably a good time to revisit and have a look at it. So there are two ways you can go with it. I've seen Avacyn played as a kind of a combo deck to make sure all the combo pieces can't be destroyed before you go off. Or there's the traditional Angel deck. Me, personally, I'm not the best combo player in the world. If you see the stream regularly, you can see me trying to figure out the combos my opponents are trying to do against me. And I don't always pick up on it. So I obviously went down the Angel route. And this is what the deck looks like. As usual, one of my videos, we'll go through the mana base. Yeah, lots of planes. Lots and lots and lots of planes. And then a few other bits and pieces. Wingbrisk's Heights is here. For the first time in a long time, I've played a hideaway land. I figured this was a good place to play because we are going to be attacking a fair bit with this deck, and it might give us a good way of getting something in for cheap. I am playing one of each of mine, Power Plant and Tower. Now, I don't usually recommend this approach, but with Avacyn being such a high mana cost in the first place, and if she does by somehow get exiled, destroyed, some way or other removed from the game, it's going to, the first time she gets killed, it's 10 mana, then it's 12 mana, and it becomes complicated to recast her. Plus, there's some benefits to having these three in play, along with Temple of the False God and the Reliquary Tower, which are usually in my decks. The other one I'll point out, just because we are here, it's a mono white deck, so Nykthos is here. Again, Nykthos is something you can drop if you haven't got the money for it, make the deck a bit cheaper. That's fine. We've also got Emeria, the Sky Rune, just in case any of our creatures get killed off before we get Avacyn's down. Fable Passage, just to get some planes out of the deck. And Minas Tirith is here because we will be attacking. It gives us a nice way to draw some cards. Again, I've gone a little bit heavy on the ramp, and I apologise for this, but there's obviously one card you can take out. If you haven't got Jeweled Lotus in real life or on MTGO, I would imagine the price may come down a little bit on MTGO and maybe in real life, depending on what the supply is like for Commander Masters. But with the cost of Commander Masters at the moment, don't know sure how many packs are going to be opened personally, but that's neither here nor there. But we have got Lotus Bloom, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Rings here, Arcane Signet, Goldmere, because it does tap for white mana, I'm counting as part of the ramp package, Marble Diamond, Thought Vessel, and Pearl Medallion, which I also count as part of the ramp package now, just because it drops the cost of our spells down by 1. So that's where I'm going for the ramp side, and then it's really a case of how we're going to do things, and this is how I decided to do it. Authority of Consuls gives us a bit of life gain. We've got Cloud Shift and a couple of other exile spells in here. You're probably wondering why they're here, but it'll become clearer as we go through it. Condemn and Path to Exile gives a bit of targeted removal we needed. Legion's Landing will hopefully get transformed rapidly, so we get to make the vampire tokens. Expedition Map, Renegade Map, Traveler's Amulet are here just to get either, in the case of Expedition map, to go and get something like Nykthos or Emeria or one of these three if we need to get the third one. Renegade map, Traveller's Amulet, just going to get some planes out of our library and get them into our hands. We hit our land drops quite rapidly, I hope. Sol Ring I've mentioned anyway, so that's there. And then the angels. So Giard is here, Font of Hope, makes our angels another way of ramping into our angels. Loyal Warhound along with Knight of the White Orchid, and over in the 4-drop slot if I can find it, Core Cartographer, there you go. The reasons we've got things like Cloud Shift in the deck, just so we can exile them and get some extra lands into play or into our hand. Youthful Valkyrie is just a way of making a big angel quite easily. And Offenza chucks around some +1/+1 counters to make our angels even bigger. Bishop of the Wings gives us life when angels enter play, and whenever an angel we control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying, which is quite nice little backup if we haven't got Avacyn down when things start getting killed off. Brought Back is also there to protect us if things go pear-shaped and we're getting creatures wiped out before we get Avacyn in play. Knights I've mentioned, Goldmere I've mentioned, everything else in that one I've done through. Aerial Interlude is here just to exile everything. It is quite nice because it exiles all our creatures. It does protect us from things like Opponent's Damnations, Wrath of Gods, Day of Judgments, so on and so forth. So if you've got everyone in play and you haven't got the Indestructible and you think someone's going to cast it, it's always worth leaving the 3 mana up just so you can exile everything in response to them casting a Destroy All spell. So bear it in mind. Generous Gift just destroys something that is annoying us, and a 3/3 elephant token in this deck isn't too hard to deal with. Ghostly Prison slows everyone down from attacking us, hence why it's here. Ghost Away does the same thing as the Eerie Interlude to a certain extent. Lauren's here because I like destroying opponents' artifacts and enchantments that annoy me, and a little bit of card draw's nice. Righteous Valkyrie, yep. As long as you have at least 7 or more life than your starting total, everything gets +2/+2. Not particularly difficult with this deck to get there with that, so bear it in mind. Sky Hunter Strike Force gives everything melee for each opponent being attacked, so that's pretty cool with our deck. Starheim Aspirant makes all our angels cost 2 less, which does make Avacyn bearable if it gets killed off once if you've got this in play, because you're back to paying the 8 again, but I still think Avacyn's hardcore. Adeline Resplendent Cathars here, also just to give us some extra blockers when we attack or get extra attackers in. Then we've got a resurrection spell you don't usually see in white. Breath of Life is here. This originally came out in 7th edition. It's been reprinted, if I remember correctly, Vintage Masters got it reprinted on MTGO, so it's worth picking up one if you can find one. Core I've talked about. Restoration Angel does the blinking thing on one of the 3 land producing things. Do I need to say anything about Smothering Tithe? Again, this is a card that can be dropped if you haven't got one, but I'm expecting the price to come down maybe a smidge because of the release of Commander Masters, but we will see. Windborne Muse is another way of slowing the attackers down. And Archangel Elspeth is here. Gives us a social token, or we can turn one of our creatures into an angel and give it flying. Anyway, Day of Judgment blows up the board. Obviously, we don't want to be casting this unless we have to, or we cast it quite happily if Avacyn's in play. Hero Bladehold gives us a bit of battle cry, some more tokens. Levana, Keeper of Silence, slows down our opponent to a certain extent with their activated abilities. A second white animation spell, Resurrection. I think this came a lot earlier. I can't remember what set this was originally in now, but it was reprinted in Ultimate Masters a while back, and there's been several reprintings of it since, so you should be able to get one. Sarah the Benevolent. I'm playing an angel deck at the end of the day. I might as well get the +1/+1 for all the creatures we're flying, or make some angels if we need to. That's fine. Starnheim Unleashed just to give us a way of foretelling to make some angels. Wrath of God again, same idea as the wonderful Day of Judgment we mentioned earlier. Sphere of Safety, so we've got quite a few enchantments in the decks. We might as well have this in as well to slow down the attacking. Sunblade Samurai is not a card you are ever going to cast for 5 mana. Just so we're clear on this. This is purely here to pay to channel it and go and get a planes. If you have to cast Sunblade Samurai in the game, something has gone hideously wrong with what you're trying to do. So try and avoid it if you can. Just putting that out there for this deck. I'm not saying Sunblade Samurai is a bad card. In some decks it really does work in. This one, not one of them. Mana ramp. Boonbringer Valkyrie is also here for the backup ability. Give something flying, first strike and lifelink. Yep. And Karmic Guide is also here, so we can return target creature card that might have been killed off before we get Avacyn down with the Echo. We can pay the Echo if we need to. It's pro black at the end of the day, so it's not that bad. Regina the Redeemed is here. Obviously Krav's not here, Krav's black, so you can't have the partner, but you can gain life with this deck, so you might be getting some warrior tokens every so often. Chroma's Vengeance literally blows everything up on the board unless you've made it all indestructible. And again, if you're really desperate for a card, you can cycle this and draw one. Archon of Coronation is another card you can drop if you haven't picked one up in Legends at some stage. I like this one because you do become the Monarch, and as long as you're the Monarch, damage doesn't cause you to lose life. So when a creature deals combat damage to you, its controller still becomes the Monarch. Just bear that in mind, but you don't lose any life. So they get the Monarchy, but you don't lose anything. So keep it going. Sunblast Angel. Just a way of blowing up all the tapped creatures on the board. Hopefully yours will be untapped. You'll play this in your first main phase. Valkyrie Harbinger. Gain some life. Get another big angel. Thank you. Approach of the Second Sun's our backup win condition in case we need it. If we're getting all our creatures destroyed and we haven't been able to cast Avacyn. Angel of the Dire are... I'm not 100% sure. I think it came from one of the Jumpstart sets originally. I'm not sure. It's on a treasure chest on MTGO, and I'm not saying it's cheap, but it is worth picking up. Flash and Flying, and when an Angel of the Dire enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, exile all attacking creatures. Yeah, okay then. Emiria Shepherd, just a bit of landfall that returns non-land permanents from our graveyard to our hands if we need them to. And Exquisite Archangel, if you would lose a game, exile Exquisite Archangel and your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. Okay, like that. The final one, just so we can make things indestructible. This is just going to be cast for 2 mana most of the time, unless you really need some blockers for some reason. Grand Crescendo, it's a nice card. Gives you some green, white citizen creature tokens if you pay the X. It's an instant, so you can save your creatures and make them all indestructible if you haven't got Avacyn down. So it is there. One thing I did realise I just missed out. Swift Foot Boots is also in the deck, really to protect Avacyn once Avacyn's hit. Because with this and the ability to make everything indestructible, yeah, you've pretty much controlled the board at that stage, because they can't exile Avacyn, they can't target it, and everything's indestructible permanently. So it kind of works. But that's it. This is my second Commander Masters video. There are a couple of other videos coming up this week featuring Commander Masters cards. I've also got a couple of Lord of the Rings ones coming up. That's tomorrow's one's definitely an update on Aragon. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've hit the subscribe button. I will try and respond to the comments when I'm on holiday, but I am staying on Dartmoor. I'm not sure if I've got Wi-Fi down there, and I know mobile signals in Devon aren't particularly great, especially in the middle of Dartmoor where we're staying. So I'll keep an eye, and if I can respond to any comments, I will do. But thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll come back tomorrow if you haven't been here before and watch tomorrow's video. Take care. See you soon. Bye.